Like if Italians came and made England Italian, he has an issue with it. He doesn't like the no border policy. He doesn't. So he's like, every country that fought for their identity should be able to uphold that identity.
In this video, we turn to Andrew Schulz and his co-host Akash Singh on the Flagrant podcast. Andrew Schulz and his co-host discuss the idea that because someone's against illegal immigration, that makes them racist. With that, let's watch Andrew Schulz highlight yet another way the Democrats have once again lost the plot.
I don't know if you believe that. Because if all of a sudden, again, white people started moving to India and changing what Indian culture is, like you've already complained about Indian culture becoming too westernized.
Yeah, but that's again,
and Japanese people started coming and then making it a little more Japanese. Like,
I'm going to cut you off because India got imperialized, got conquered. India was supposed to have an entirely different trajectory. It got robbed, pillaged, raped, fucked. Now I have a sensitivity to it. England didn't get imperialized, robbed, pillaged, raped, fucked by any of these foreigners for sure coming in. No Indian country.
That's not true, but
you're bringing in Indians when you have the British Empire for sure.
But I mean, like, of course, the Roman Empire conquered them. I mean,
not by the people that you don't like. He doesn't have a problem with Italians coming over.
No, he does.
He has a problem with Italians.
Yeah. So
you think those guys that are rioting?
He's saying each country, like if Italians came and made England Italian, he has an issue with it. He doesn't like the no border policy. He doesn't. So he's like, every country that fought for their identity should be able to uphold that identity.
The people he's defending, they don't have a problem with Italians. The people he's saying, I understand where they're coming from and sympathizing with.
But I'm not going to argue on them.
But that's who he's supporting. Defending.
Sure. What I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. But his argument about a nation being able to fight for its identity, and if it doesn't, by not accepting large amounts of immigrants, they're looked at as racist. I don't know if they should be looked at as racist. If the idea of fighting that war was to preserve the English identity, and accepting large groups of people from other countries is naturally going to chip away at that singular identity. I understand the logic behind it.
That could be one of the many emotions, but I do think there's some racism involved in the same way that, like, they're not going to be upset at the Italian restaurant opening up in their neighborhood.
You've made that argument. I'm not saying that. I'm making.
And this is just to what I'm saying earlier. That's a great premise. I can't find a ton of holes in it. A comedian has a great premise. You can't just find the holes in it.
Right.
It's fun. But we both know at the end of the day, this is not like a real thing this person believes, or you should know.
See, I don't like getting into those arguments where it's like, we're going to assume what they really mean. Like, I'm just trying to have the argument based on like the words that are said, which is, does Hawaii have the ability to maintain their Hawaiian culture? And when Western culture starts to come in, or even Japanese culture, where these other cultures start to chip away at the Hawaiian identity, do they have the right to be frustrated at that? Or are they racist when they're frustrated?
Yeah, but again, you're talking about a colonized place that was in, like, that's where the difference is.
Okay.
It just
Remove
is different.
colonization. Like, do a thought experiment. Just do a thought experiment.
Hey, yeah, as a thought experiment.
I can't believe people are still hung up on colonization in the past. I'm really surprised at Akash here. It's ridiculous to say that people that don't want large swaths of other cultures coming into their country by illegal means, not through normal immigration, but through illegal means, they don't have to assimilate to that country's culture. In the United States, we're getting close to a point where our country doesn't have an identity anymore. We were a country founded on God and Christian principles. I think it's like 30% of the country now that identifies as Christian. And I think that's a direct correlation with the increasing number of ills we have in our society. But when you let large groups of people in that have no desire to assimilate to your culture or your country's identity is the one thing that no matter how divided everyone can unite behind. But we're losing that more and more. I mean, we're trying to have two national anthems, for gosh sakes. I always thought liberty, justice, God, freedom, I always thought those were a pretty good identity. But think how many people live in this country and hate it. We're the most blessed country in the world, and there's people who live here that just hate it. I have nothing to back this up, but I don't think that other countries despise their country to the level that people do in ours. in the United States. Most people are proud of their country. That's a normal emotion. The abnormal emotion is to hate your country and scream about it and want to burn the flag and all that stuff. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Experiment. If they had never been colonized, don't worry about it.
Everybody's been colonized, so that cancels out everybody.
I mean, they're still colonized, like right now.
Okay. This is why these things are so difficult. It's really hard to just even hypothetically discuss it.
Like if Mexico got mad at a bunch of Americans moving in, I would honestly be like, it's just a country changes. Like Mexico has been its own country for a long time. Country changes. It's not Indians moving into England where it's like, well, we have to come here because you actively took all of our jewels. They're still in your fucking palace. So I have more opportunity here. I'm coming.
You think those jewels are doing anything?
India was a
jewels
wealthy...
are going to help 2 billion. I hate this revisionist history where India was wealthy and then now
India
all of a sudden they're broke.
Yeah. How is that now all of a sudden? Like, what are you even talking about?
I mean, look at Africa. Like they took all their resources and Africa's still a poor country, continent.
I mean, like, I just know that you don't have anything to substantiate that. So it's like, there's no way to... We're living in like a world where like there's no way to prove the trajectory would have gone completely positive. There could have been infighting.
I don't know if it would have been positive. I don't know if it would have been completely positive, but it would have been. I said it was just completely different trajectory. I didn't say it was worse.
Right.
Completely different trajectory that they did not have control of.
In that situation with Mexico, like I would totally understand if Mexico was like, hey, I don't want you chipping away at our culture. Like,
I think that is happening a little bit. I think some Mexicans are mad that like El Salvadorians like come up and like they take over like little enclaves or something. I was talking about Mexican buddy. He's like, yeah, like there's like they have like immigrants that are moving through and they get annoyed by it. I don't know if it's all Mexico. I doubt it.
And again, we're different in especially like New York because this is part of our identity. We've had these different groups of people that we've fully embraced coming in here and becoming part of the fabric of what it is to be an American from the beginning. Even when we went west, there's Mexicans, there's Native Americans, there's always all these different people. Even when we're uniting the country, we were colonies of different countries, so there are different cultures for us to even handle. You go down to New Orleans and there's like French speakers. Like there's just all this different stuff that we've had to deal with. So this is our idea of what a country is.
Some of these scoop the bagel ass people, like they.
That's me. I'm a scoop the bagel.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
That's racist.
Get those people out of there.
But so I do think we're projecting our idea of like acceptance on other countries that are just like, hey, listen, we've worked thousands of years to curate this identity, and we don't want to water that identity down. And the people that do come in here, and if they end up watering it down, it's not going to be something we like. And don't call us racist for that. Mm-hmm. You tell me if I'm wrong.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Mm-hmm. Like, let's say a bunch of Chinese people started to move into Italy and they started to like change what it is to be an Italian. Are they wrong? Are they racist for that?
No, probably nationalist.
But is that wrong?
I mean, I guess it depends to what degree.
Oh, based on our perspective of a country, that's wrong. But we also don't have thousands of years of history and like identity built into that. Like, I don't know, I would feel wrong. Like, I know that India is a different example, but like, I'd feel like, let's say white people, just Europeans started moving into China and slowly changing China and making China more white. Like I would, and they were like, hey, we don't like how China's becoming so like westernized. Like we're losing our cultural identity. I wouldn't be like, you fucking racist. How dare you? Like, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. Like we're coming to your shit and then making your shit ours. We talk about this with gentrification all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Like when it comes to gentrification, we unanimously agree it's wrong. And then when it comes to the gentrification of a country,
we don't like it, but we don't stop it.
Yeah, that's true. But
I'm really surprised. I like Akash Singh, but he said, referring to tons of people from a different culture moving into your country, he said, a country changes. That is the most liberal thing I've ever heard. And then Andrew said it perfectly. Countries take thousands of years to cultivate an identity. It's not crazy for them to say, hey, this is how we do things here, and we want it to stay that way. That's not racist. And by the way, that doesn't even mean that someone from another country living in another country can't maintain their culture. They just need to understand that they need to assimilate to the ways of the country they're moving to. And if you don't want to, then why did you move there in the first place? You know, in England, it's becoming largely a Muslim country now. And I will tell you, Muslim values and Christian values are not complementary. They don't work together. Forget feminism and all that stuff, but do most Americans think that women are equal to men as far as rights? Of course. We want everyone to have the same rights and opportunities. In many Muslim countries, women are treated like property and garbage. And the same people that want to whine that it was once like that in this country 200 years ago don't say a word about these other countries. So does that make sense what I'm saying? Why Christian values and Muslim values aren't compatible? That's just one example that I can think of because I can relate to it. Nothing about wanting to preserve your country's identity is racist or xenophobic. And by the way, we're talking about this in the United States. I guess we're talking about in England too, but I don't hear it a lot in other countries because they have secure borders. They do have national pride. They do have an identity, and they keep it by keeping their borders secure. It's crazy. We're the most powerful, blessed country in the world, and we had 4 years of an administration just letting anyone walk in that wanted to. It's just nuts. Let's wrap up the video.
It's oftentimes the people that there don't have the power to stop it. And if they maybe did have the power, they would do something. I guess I think
it's like a power and affluence thing. Like, I think powerful countries that don't accept immigrants in large degrees are then seen as like xenophobic.
Yeah.
Whereas poor countries that don't accept them are seen as protectionist.
Yes.
Like, they seem like they're conserving their resources and like not just letting anyone in.
And maybe that's why Italy wouldn't bother me as much. Also, maybe just Italian culture is cooler to me or whatever. So the Italy thing, I'm like, I get it more for Italy than England. England, I also think if you have a problem with the people coming in, that's a little different than saying, hey, if you're going to come here, just assimilate. If you're going to come here, do our shit. I wouldn't love that, but I get it. Yeah. If you're going to move to my country, embrace our culture, this is what it is. If they're telling the people, come here and embrace what it is to be English. Muslims, stop doing that to women. That's fine. But when you have a problem with them coming in, it starts to feel different.
So here's the thing. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you say, hey, if you come here, you got to take on our traditions.
Yeah, Akash is just way off on this one. He's looking at this in a crazy way. Like, he respects Italy's culture. That's a problem to him. But a bunch of people from an entirely different culture coming into England is no problem to him. Isn't that, I don't know, not racist, but exclusionary of one group over the other, or placing higher value on one country's culture than the other? I mean, that's insane. And he's saying all these other people are racist just for wanting to preserve their country's identity. It's stupid. But we want to hear from you. What did you guys think about this conversation between Andrew Schulz and Akash Singh? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.